In 1944 and 1945, the world came face to face with the true horrors and atrocities that Hitler and his Nazis were responsible for. These actions caused the creation of new vocabulary. The term Holocaust, which originally means a sacrificial offering consumed by flame, became the word for a massive slaughter of European Jews and others by the Nazis during World War II. But that wasn't enough. The term genocide was created to describe the systematic way in which these mass murders were carried out. When the camps were liberated in 1944 and 45, many people began to ask questions of how these things could happen. I'm going to show you just how simple acts of discrimination led to mass extermination. We begin all the way back in 1933, because that's when Hitler has officially declared himself Chancellor of Germany and is able to proceed with his anti-Semitic programs. Hitler announces the boycott of Jewish businesses. He wrongly defines the Jews as a race and begins to set up the idea that Jews are not Germans and attempts to isolate them. In this picture, you see Nazi guards guarding an entrance into a Jewish shop. The sign reads, "Germans, defend yourselves against the Jewish atrocity propaganda. Buy only at German shops." In addition to boycotts, un-German ideas established by Freud, Einstein, Thomas Mann, Jack London, H.G. Wells, and others will go up in flames. Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels told the German people that the era of extreme Jewish intellectualism is at an end. In 1934 and 1935, the Nazis began to pass a set of Nuremberg laws that not only discriminated against the Jews, but defined what a Jew actually was. They defined the Jews by providing genealogy charts and providing marks on birth certificates. Basic rights were also denied to the Jews using these Nuremberg laws. Things like national health insurance, determining who a Jew was allowed to marry, and who a Jew was allowed to employ or even work for. The Jews were even forced to wear the Star of David so they could be easily identified. In 1936, the Nazis became the center of the world during the 1936 Berlin Olympics. During this time, the various Nazi programs against the Jews took a back seat so that Germany, and more importantly the Nazis, could show the world that they were a peaceful, civilized country and citizens. It was here that Jesse Owens, an African American, won a number of races which directly contradicted Hitler's idea of Aryan racial supremacy in all things. In 1937, anti-Semitic programs picked up once again. Jews were being excluded this time from certain professions, such as doctors, dentists, teachers, and accountants, with propaganda exhibits entitled The Eternal Jew. This exhibit taught the German people how to identify Jews and how to avoid them. The film The Eternal Jew also explains to Germans how the Jews are infecting society and explains why Jews need to be treated differently.
Wir Deutschen haben schon vor 25 Jahren einmal Gelegenheit gehabt, einen Blick in das polnische Ghetto zu werfen. Diesmal aber ist unser Blick durch die Erfahrungen der letzten Jahrzehnte geschärft. Wir sehen nicht mehr wie 1914 bloß das Groteske und Komische an diesen fragwürdigen Gestalten des Ghettos. Wir erkennen, dass hier ein Pestherd liegt, der die Gesundheit der arischen Völker bedroht. Richard Wagner hat einmal gesagt, der Jude ist der plastische Dämon des Verfalls der Menschheit. Und diese Bilder bestätigen die Richtigkeit seines Ausspruchs. Das häusliche Zusammenleben der Juden zeigt einen auffallenden Mangel an selbstschöpferischer Zivilisationsfähigkeit. Auf Deutsch gesagt, die jüdischen Behausungen sind unsauber und verwahrlost. Man muss bedenken, dass diese Juden nicht etwa arm sind. Durch jahrzehntelangen Handel haben sie genug Geld angehäuft, um sich und ihrer Familie ein sauberes und behagliches Heim schaffen zu können. Aber sie wohnen Generationen hindurch in denselben schmutzigen und verwanzten Wohnlöchern. Wo Ratten auch auftauchen, tragen sie Vernichtung ins Land, zerstören sie menschliche Güter und Nahrungsmittel. Auf diese Weise verbreiten sie Krankheiten, Pest, Lepra, Typhus, Cholera, Ruhr und so weiter. Sie sind hinterlistig, feige und grausam und treten meist in großen Scharen auf. Sie stellen unter den Tieren das Element der heimtückischen unterirdischen Zerstörung dar. Nicht anders als die Juden unter den Menschen. Freilich wandeln sie ihr Äußeres, wenn sie von der polnischen Niststätte in die reiche Welt hinausgelangen. Pais und Bart, Kappe und Kaftan kennzeichnen den Ostjuden für jedermann. Legt er sie ab, so erkennen nur schärfer blickende Menschen seine rassische Herkunft. Es ist ein wesentliches Charaktermerkmal des Juden, dass er immer bestrebt ist, seine Abstammung zu verbergen, wenn er sich unter Nichtjuden bewegt. Eine ganze Gruppe von polnischen Juden, eben noch Kaftanträger und nun in westeuropäischer Kleidung, bereit, sich in die westliche Zivilisation einzuschleichen. Natürlich wissen sich diese Ghetto-Juden zunächst noch nicht richtig in den sauberen europäischen Anzügen zu bewegen.
In addition to the Germans invading Austria in 1938, they will also begin to take a more violent approach to dealing with the Jews in Europe. It started when a 19-year-old teenage boy named Herschel Grinspan went to France to confront Nazi officials about the deportation of his parents. He shot and killed a Nazi officer, and as retaliation, the Nazis ordered an organized destruction of Jewish businesses and synagogues. This was known as Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass. Even though the world knew that the Nazis were to blame, 30,000 Jews will be arrested and sent to prison camps as punishment for starting the violence. 1939 marked the beginning of deportations and the creation of ghettos, small cities in which Jews were forced to live in crowded conditions. These ghettos were established in occupied Eastern Europe. Jews from all of Europe were forced from their homes and required to register and move into these various ghettos. In 1941, Germany broke their non-aggression pact with Russia and invaded. One part of this invading army was the Einsatzgruppen. It was their sole purpose to kill any communist, Jew, gypsy that they could come across. This would be the first step in exterminating the Jews from the earth. By the end of the war, these mobile killing units would be responsible for the death of approximately 1.3 million Russian Jews. In this picture, the coffins equal the number of Jews killed by the Einsatzgruppen, and even in one area is listed as Judenfrei, Jew-free. In January of 1942 in Berlin, the Wannsee Conference was held. It was here that the Nazis outlined the final solution to the Jewish problem. The final solution was where the Nazis will attempt to kill off all of Europe's Jews, and the methods that they used varied. Phase 1 consisted of mass shootings. This would be where the Jews would be transported to a forest or another wooded area and be shot. This method didn't last long because the Nazis needed bullets to fight the war, and the Nazi officials were worried about what psychological effects this form of execution would have on their soldiers. Phase 2 were the use of gas vans. For the second phase, Jews would once again be rounded up and put into vans. But these vans were built in such a way that allowed the exhaust to be pumped back into the back of the van, killing all the Jews instantly. This method was not used long because gasoline that was used to make the vans operational was needed for the war effort, and also again because of the psychological effect of handling the dead bodies would have on the German soldiers. This method would kill approximately 700,000 Jews, but was quickly replaced with the final phase 3, the camps. There were two types of camps. Concentration camps were ones in which prisoners were forced to complete hard manual labor with the hopes that the prisoners would work themselves to death. Most prisoners would only last for about 6 months. These camps were homes of all of the people that the Nazis didn't like: communists, homosexuals, criminals, gypsies, Jehovah's Witnesses, Jews, Poles, and anyone else. These types of camps were around since 1933, when the Nazis first came into power. Some of the more well-known concentration camps are Dachau, Bergen-Belsen, where Anne Frank was, Theresienstadt, the nicest of all concentration camps, Ravensbrück, a women's-only camp, and Buchenwald. Death, or extermination camps, were concentration camps that were modified with buildings for mass gassings of prisoners. These death camps were Majdanek, Auschwitz-Birkenau, Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka. Most Jews upon arrival of these death camps would be sent directly to the gas chambers. Once the people were let in, the doors would close, and Zyklon B, a poison typically used to kill rats, would be poured into the ceiling. When these pellets came in contact with air, it emitted a toxic gas which would kill instantly, within 15 to 20 minutes. Once it was checked to see that all of those inside the gas chamber died, the bodies would be emptied, taken to the crematoriums, where they would finally leave the camps in the form of ashes. As the Allied forces began to push back the Nazis, the camps became liberated, and the true horrors were finally revealed.
Sir. Open it up, sir. Stand back. Give us some room here. Stand back. Back.
Christensen, any of your men speak German?
No, sir.
We need lead guard. Lead guard! Limpton, find me lead guard.
Yes, sir.
Leave guard! Leave guard! Leave guard! Major needs you up front right now.
Sure.
All right, boys. These people need care. Give them water and any spare rations you might have. Grab me some blankets, quick.
Oh, my God. Dick?
Molim vas, pomozite, još je živ. Još ga možete spasiti. Molim vas, Sorry. Yeah, take some water. Voda. Jesus, Webb, can you believe this place? No. That's okay. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Okay. Die Wachen haben das Lager heute Morgen verlassen.
You said the guards left this morning, sir.
Brannten sie aber einige von diesen
Langsam bitte, langsam.
Zuvor verbrannten sie noch einige der Baracken.
They burned some of the huts first.
Mit den Gefangenen immer noch drinnen, lebend.
Well, the prisoners still in them, sir. Alive.
Jesus Christ. Aber einige von den Gefangenen haben sie versucht, daran zu
Some
hindern.
of the prisoners are trying to stop.
Sie wurden getötet. Sie wurden
Some of them were killed.
Getötet. Und die Wachen hatten nicht genügend.
They didn't have enough ammo for all the prisoners, so
Sie töteten so viele sie konnten.
they killed as many as they could
Und dann verließen sie einfach das Lager.
before they left the camp.
Sie schlossen das Tor hinter sich und gingen
Locked the
Richtung
gates
Süden.
behind them and headed south.
Someone in town must have told them we were coming.
Yeah, I think so.
Will you ask him what kind of camp this is? Why are they here?
Was ist das hier?
Das hier, das ist ein Arbeitslager für Unerwünschte, wirklich.
He says it's a work camp for unerwünschte. I'm not sure what the word means, sir. I'm wanted, disliked.